how to support your teammates as a professor in Wizards Unite. Welcome back to WizardPhD, I'm Professor Lynette, and today I am talking all about how to battle in remote fortresses as a professor. If you are a professor looking for some basics for remote fortress team play, then this video is for you. This is in collaboration with Matt from Animagus, who is covering basics for the Aurors, and James from XpectoGO, who is covering the basics for Magizoologists. So be sure to check out their videos as well. The links are in the description down below. Major note, this is an introductory general overview for professors. So although there are multiple possibilities and nuances in battles in terms of team composition and the foes that you encounter, I'll try my best to account for some of those details as I show you some of the battles I'll go through, but know that there is flexibility, and basically everything about battling involves that you make adjustments and do the best for what you have in front of you and the resources that you can provide for the team. Today, I will be expanding on Orange Wizard's infographic, and I'll also go in a little more depth with my experiences, dividing it in low-level chambers and higher-level chambers. So let's get started. Overview, what does your profession have to offer? As a professor, you are able to debilitate foes while also supporting your teammates. You deal extra damage to curiosities, which are pixies and werewolves, and you take extra damage from dark forces, which are Death Eaters and Dark Wizards. You are also neutral to beasts, so those are the Urklings and Acromantula. This comes into play as you determine the order in which you approach foes. So you should take the curiosities, pixies and werewolves, as you will deal more damage against those foes compared to the other professions that are fighting with you. Next up, you should take on the beast, and that's only if there is not a Magizoologist or there are no other options. Take on the beast, starting with Acromantula, although Urkling is also fine. It just depends on what comes up for you. And finally, leave the dark forces to the Aurors or Magizoologists who are neutral to the dark forces, unless there are no other options and you want to help out. What are your spells? Each profession has strategic spells that you can spend focus to use to either impair foes or enhance teammates. You gain expertise in these strategic spells by spending scrolls and books in your skill tree. In my profession, I am a professor. I can click on Principles of Professorship, and you can see as a master professor, I have all of these lessons completed, but this is where you're gonna go to see your strategic spells. Now I'm gonna click on the expertise tab, and you can see everything, all the stats for a mastered professor. So I'm gonna scroll down to each of these spells and explain what they do. The Deterioration Hex costs 3 focus, and you apply it to an individual foe. Anyone can benefit from the hex being on the foe, and they will have additional damage applied to the foe anytime they attack or defend. A maxed out Deterioration Hex does 40 HP damage to a foe, unless there is a Bat Bogey Hex that is applied by the Auror, so you have 40 plus 3, 43 total HP damage with both of those activated. The Mending Charm costs 0 focus. It is applied to an individual teammate, and it recharges every 5 seconds. So although it doesn't cost anything, there's a little time gate, so it takes 5 seconds before you can apply it again. And a maxed out Mending Charm gives 4 hit points to your teammate. Next is the Protection Charm. Sometimes I call this the shield. This costs 3 focus to use. The Protection Charm is applied to an individual teammate, and it lasts for the remainder of the battle. When this is applied to a teammate, it boosts their defense protection by 30%, and you can also apply the protection to yourself. The Proficiency Charm costs 7 focus. It's expensive because it is applied to the entire team, and it remains for the duration of the battle. A max proficiency charm boosts each teammate's proficiency power by 44%. The proficiency charm is most effective when you have all 3 professions represented. For my skill tree, I prioritized the protection charm and the deterioration hex, but you could also prioritize the proficiency charm as well. What potions might you brew? So this is before the battle, any preparations you might make. In addition to strategic spell casting, which you are improving in your skill trees, you you can also use potions to increase your chances of victory in a battle. I personally avoid potions if I can, mostly because they are consumable and use a lot of resources. So either you're gonna spend time brewing or you're gonna spend gold to buy. So this is something that I try to minimize in terms of my battle strategy. We have healing potions which restore 35% of your maximum stamina. Now this is useful if you don't have a magizoologist who can heal or revive you during a battle, or if you are down to the wire and you need to stay up to take down a foe because you're running out of time. Extimulo potions increase your spellcasting damage. For Extimulo potions, it's 3 cast, Strong Extimulo is 4 cast, Potent Extimulo is 5 cast, and the higher you go in the Extimulos, the more damage that you're able to provide. I often use this if I'm running out of time or spell energy. Sometimes if the lineup of foes is really bad, so it's nothing but Acromantula and we can't all take it down, I'll pop an Extimulo and try to go faster to help the team out. I say that, but I only use Extimulo if it's absolutely necessary, primarily because Extimulo you can use for higher threat level traces, which are useful for returning them. Invigoration drafts you gain focus from. So there is an invigoration draft for 1 focus and a strong invigoration for 3 focus. I know sometimes this is a popular potion for professors, however, I personally don't use invigoration or brew them, but it is useful if you're starting off with your maxed initial focus. If I'm starting off at 4, I use a strong invigoration. That brings me up to 7. I can use my proficiency charm right at the start of the battle. Or if we're near the end and I need more focus to use on foes for the hex, then I might use an invigoration draft for that. What to do during a battle. So my goal is resource management. I'm trying to use my strategic spells effectively. Part of playing games is to be flexible and adapt as the situations unfold. So I'm personally not a hardliner, but I will give some general advice of how to approach this from a basic perspective. Some situations will adjust based on your team composition and your foe lineup. Let's walk through some battles and I'll just talk through my strategy as I go through. So I'm gonna start with lower level chambers and talk through my approach here. So I'm gonna go into a tower. Typically I think of ruins and tower as the lower levels and forest and dark as some of the higher levels. So I'll join a chamber and as you notice, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for a team of 5 to fill out. And so we'll see what the distribution is. Some people might drop out if they don't like the lineup or it's not the most efficient or effective, and that's fine. But I typically don't hit the start button or the join button until there's a team of 5 so we can get a 5 teammate bonus. Okay, 3 Magizoologists, 1 Aura, and 1 Professor. Let's see what we've got here. All right, so this approach, I'm gonna pause for a second just to see what the Aura does and what other people are gonna do, if they're gonna hop into a particular foe. If not, then I can just start hexing. So I typically prioritize the deterioration hex when I first get started. So I'm gonna go in on this 3-star werewolf, which I hexed, even though I'm proficient against, but it's a 3-star. So I wanna use my hexes on these lower levels on the higher star, higher level foes. And so I'm hitting it. I'm actually under 79. So when I do my ProteGO, it's going to take the hex for 40. And I'm actually, this is, if you're not pressed on time, you can save some spell energy by letting it hit you again or waiting until the next hit. So now it's down. So I'm gonna put the hex on the elite acro and we had someone go in on it already. So I'm going to take down this werewolf without a hex because I used it on the elite foe. You wanna try to prioritize your hexing for the more difficult, so in other words, higher hit point level foes, which are werewolves, Death Eaters, Acromantula, and any elite level foe. All right, let's keep going. I'm gonna hex the 3 stars for both the Death Eater and the werewolf. I think that we'll be able to get this ready pretty quickly. We only have 1 Aura, so I should probably prioritize hexing the dark forces so that can help out teammates, but I'll be getting a lot of focus as we're continuing to take down foes. All right, so now everyone's in, so I'm just gonna help out by giving my mending charm to the Aura. The Aura looks like they have the least hit points, so I'm just going to continue this because I can't battle anyone, everything's occupied. So it refreshes every 5 seconds. I'm just going to keep doing this until the end of the battle. There is a deterioration hex on this, so that's giving an additional 40 damage on each hit, so hopefully that's helping the Aura out. And we are victorious. All right, 3 Magizoologists, an Auror, and a Professor again. So I'm gonna pause and see what happens here. I think I'm gonna just straight up hex things. So I'm gonna hex this acro and then I'm gonna go in on the pixie. I don't use the protection charm typically in lower level chambers because the HP is pretty low for at least my level, and when we have a whole group of 5, it's pretty manageable. It's not that urgent, but it is useful if you do want to use it. Similarly, I typically don't use the proficiency charm either because it's a high cost spell to use all that focus. When you do have a team that is represented by all the professions, it is still useful. So you can decide and make, determinations based on your lineup of what is most useful to you. So Mending Charm is the most useful. It's free. When you're out and not doing anything, just use, it's 4 hit points when it's maxed. Just keep doing it over and over. You'll notice that we're not gaining focus at the end, and that's because each chamber has a set amount of focus that it will deal out to the team. So once that's exhausted, then you won't continue gaining focus. And that's why if you need to use an invigoration draft, then that might be useful for the end. But this was very manageable as a tower level chamber. Now, for higher level chambers, potions might be a good option, only because it's gonna take you more spell energy. Yes, there might be a team of 5, but it is harder, there are more foes, so you might wanna use potions strategically to help you get through the battle. Now, my general strategy when I'm going in, I'm hoping that we have all 3 professions represented, but I like to prioritize the protection shield and the proficiency charm, especially if we have all 3 professions. Again, it really depends on what the lineup looks like. So if you have multiple professors, you might be able to fill out those protection shields more quickly. And when you use the protection shield and the proficiency, those last for the remainder of the battle, so I like to try to get those early on as best as possible. Oh no, we just have a team of 4. So I actually made a mistake right now. I gave the deterioration hex to this dark wizard instead of granting a shield, so I should have instead shielded someone, so I'm going to try to do that right now. The second player, the Magizoologist, is grayed out because they are protected, so it'll show you what you can do when you're trying to use your strategic spell. So it'll be grayed out if you have already applied it and you can't do it again, so you can know that. And you can tell who is who. There's a little icon that is the color of your teammate and it'll match up. So you'll know who's fighting it based on what color that icon is. Let's wait and see. Oh, we got another. All right, so 2 professors, 2 Aurors, and a Magizoologist. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna wait a second to see what the Auror does. If the Auror gives me focus, then I can do some additional things. So right now I can only protect, so the Magizoo is protected. I am going to protect, I'm gonna pick an Auror and just protect them. And I'll continue to do the protection charms as I'm going through because this is a higher level chamber. I want people to be able to stay up so that the Magizoo doesn't necessarily have to use all of their focus unless it's necessary to revive us. Oh, and you see that I just got a protection shield from the other professor. Thanks for that. All right, I have enough to shield the other 2. So now we're all shielded. We're gonna keep going. Make it happen. And now I see that a second enhancement has been applied. I have been blessed by a Magizoologist. So now I have 2 enhancements. So now I've dealt out all of my protection. I'm gonna do some hexing. I'm gonna hex the Death Eaters. So I'm gonna start with the full bar one. This is a level 4. And then I'm also going to hex the other level 4. All right, I'm gonna go in on the Urkling because I'm weak against the dark forces. So even though this is not the most efficient, I'm going to go in, take a few hits, and let the Auror go for their crit damage on that first hit, especially on their own foes. Okay, after this I'm gonna hop out and just see what's on the table. If I need to, hit me twice. If I need to adjust, I'm gonna hop out. Sometimes I'll do this just to see. Sometimes I'll see now there's more pixies. I can do that. Now I can hex another foe. And so it might be useful if you do a few hits, if it's not something you're proficient against, just to hop out and check and see. The third enhancement that we have is the proficiency. So the other professor put the proficiency, spent that 7 focus, so that we're all better against the things we're already good at. And now we have no more focus to use, so I'm going to give to the Auror who is currently battling this pixie. We did it. Excellent battle. All right, 2 auras, 2 professors, 1 Magizu, 1 Magizu. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna wait to see what the auras do with their focus. So if they transfer 3 to me, I can do the proficiency. If they transfer anything else, maybe 6. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna protect the Magizu with my focus. And then, oh, okay, I got a shield. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna protect, see if I had waited, then I would have had enough focus to do the proficiency, but it's okay. I'm gonna just do the protection because protection is good. It's good for everyone to take less damage. It's possible, so I have the deterioration hex on it. It's possible if you're an aura and you're jumping out, you're finishing a battle and about to do the next one, you can bat bogey any foe that has the deterioration hex on it. And you can tell based on the orange squares that are below a foe. So if I look at, for example, this foe right here has nothing on it. This foe has the second one. It is a confusion that was done by an aura. So that ends up being in the slot. Other important notes, the start and join button. So as you were seeing, I was waiting, holding off for the team of 5 to fill out so that I could see the ranged professions being represented, so I could have other people to help support during the battles. So you don't have to click the start button right away to enter a chamber, or hit join if you're waiting in the lobby in the queue. If you leave before the battle starts, you will be able to get your runestone back, but if you enter the battle and then leave, your runestone has been spent and you won't get it back. On that note, try not to enter battles if you can't contribute. So if you are low on spell energy or if the chamber is way above your grade level, try to be considerate of other players while you're entering chambers. Getting knocked out. You will be temporarily out of the battle for a period of time. The timer on this increases the higher level chamber that you go into. So it might be over a minute, it might be less than a minute. It depends on what chamber you're in. Because battles are a run against the clock, it's important for you to either have a Magizoologist to revive you, heal you, that sort of thing, or to stay up by using healing potions. What I like to do as a professor, if I have a Magizoologist, I will get knocked out completely because it costs a Magizoologist less focus to revive you than to heal you. However, this is not like in person where you can, if you go down, yell at your Magizoologist, hey, I'm down. So the communication is a little more limited in these remote battles. So just be aware that if you do go down, your Magizoologist might be in battle and won't be able to revive you right away. If you don't have a Magizoologist, you have to weigh your options on whether you can afford getting knocked out, being temporarily out of the battle and can get back in to help defeat your foes, or using healing potions to try to stay up. I did not have this issue this time, but the restart message. This has been an issue for a lot of players, not only in remote battles, but I have encountered this when I'm at fortresses in person as well. So you might get this pop-up that's like, connection error, need a restart. Despite you thinking that you should hit the restart button, do not hit the restart button. That will take you out of the chamber, it will reset everything, and you won't be able to get back in. And unfortunately, that means that your teammates are left to battle the same number of foes as if you were there, but you won't be able to help them out. What you need to do when you get this notification is to hard restart your entire app. So you have to close out completely of Harry Potter Wizards Unite, and then you have to get back in. Now, I have in Dark Chambers had to do this hard restart multiple times. I've had to do at least 3 times to get back into the battle, but you will get back in eventually if you just close out of your app completely and restart it. In general, Dark Chambers I've had the most issues with the connections. I don't know if this is because you're in the Dark Chambers longer because they're more difficult and so there's more opportunity for you to have a connection error, but just be warned that Dark Chambers have been causing a lot of issues for people. Another note, if it seems like some players in your team are not contributing or not fighting, it might not be that they're just kind of lounging around and not participating. It might be that they're actually experiencing connection issues. So be patient, we'll all get through it together. Next note is that battles are not perfect, and that's okay. I never play a perfect battle, so you saw a clip of me making a mistake, and you know, it is what it is. You deal with it and then you make adjustments. That's what you do when you're playing a game. So Be patient, be kind when it comes to others. We're all learning. We're trying to grow together. Some solo players are now able to play with a team. Some people are trying out wizarding challenges for the first time. I'm personally really excited that this offers new players to check out Harry Potter Wizards Unite. And so I really would love for players to have great first experiences and impressions of the game. You also might have a variety of team compositions. Now, while it's not the most efficient to have a team of 5 professors battling, it might be fun to experiment. So if you don't find the lineup that you want, you might as well just try something out if you're open to it. If not, keep searching for the chamber that you want. Also, difficulty levels might vary depending on the lineup of foes that you encounter. So if you have one Magizoologist and nothing but Acromantula on your screen, that's going to be way more challenging than if you have all 3 types of foes for all 3 types of professions represented. All of this is random rolls, so may the odds be ever in your favor. Finally, I think this is a perfect time for you to convince your friends and family to check out Harry Potter Wizards Unite and play some remote fortresses, play some of the events with Trace Tonics. This is a great opportunity for you to share your expertise and experience and teach someone new how to play the game. If you're new here, welcome. Hope you enjoy Harry Potter Wizards Unite. That's all that I have for you today. Let me know in the comments down below how your remote fortress battles are going. You can also check me out on social media. All the links are below as well. I would love to see any screenshots of your battles, your AR photos, your events, anything at all. I love Harry Potter Wizards Unite and I love to see the community grow. Thanks for watching, and until next time, wands ready.